Today, I would like to talk about setting strong and healthy boundaries with your toxic partner or just toxic people in general, and steps that you can take when they do not respect that. For those who haven't met me before, my name is Kristina J. I am a relationship, life purpose, confidence life coach, empowering Christian women to break free from toxic relationships and heal, embrace their true happiness in finding their unique life's purpose. So there are three parts to setting boundaries. Firstly, you need to identify your boundaries and be clear on what you need before trying to communicate or enforce the boundary. First of all, you have to ask yourself, what kind of your partner's actions are hurting your relationship, hurting you, your physical and psychological health, and your children if you have them. You can write that down on a clean sheet of paper. What causes pain in a relationship? What would you like to change and be different? And what will you tolerate and what will be completely unacceptable in your relationship? Number two, communicate your boundaries or expectations clearly, calmly, and consistently to your partner. Stick to the facts without over-explaining yourself, blaming, or becoming very defensive. It is always more effective just to say few words and set that boundary than be nagging, fighting, trying to prove that you are right. Well, it's not very effective. It's rather just to communicate it clearly, set that boundary, and follow through. Number three, if your boundaries are not respected, evaluate your options and take action. Unfortunately, very often a partner who is prone to different type of abuse, emotional, psychological, verbal, or physical, is a master manipulator, and he will try in all ways possible to cross your boundaries. And not only that, but they will try to make you feel guilty about setting the boundaries and will accuse you of being cold, rude, non-Christian, feminist, and so on and so forth. You have to be prepared for such reaction, but also stand firm and be courageous. Create that type of protective wall for yourself, a safe bubble. And in case of your partner ignoring your boundaries or blaming you, you are prepared not to accept it personally and are detaching yourself emotionally from your partner. You also need to keep in mind and understand that your partner was not used to his wife or girlfriend boldly resisting him, drawing those boundaries and saying what she would tolerate and what she wouldn't. This is new to him and it's a severe shock, but every healthy adult is capable of respecting other person's choices, other person's opinions and boundaries. Therefore, over time, your partner should be able to learn respecting you and your boundaries, or unfortunately, he will continue to ignore and cross them, shame and criticize you, guilt trip you, and in this case, you may have to implement even greater consequences for his misconduct and possibly separate from him for some time or for good. Setting boundaries is an ongoing process, and there isn't quick fix for dealing with those boundary violators. The bottom line is that we cannot make people respect us and respect the boundaries that we set, but we can control how we respond to that. Well, the following ideas that I will share can possibly help you to choose the best approach for dealing with those type of chronic boundary violators. What if someone will not respect your boundaries? What could you do about it? So number one, decide whether this boundary is negotiable. Some boundaries are more important than others, and identifying what you are willing to accept and what you consider intolerable or non-negotiable will help you to decide if you are willing to compromise. We all know that compromise could be a good thing if both people are adjusting. However, like true compromise isn't abandoning your needs in order to please someone else or accepting treatment that you consider a deal breaker. If someone like repeatedly violates your most important boundaries, you then have to ask yourself, how long are you willing to accept such treatment? I've seen many women who are accepting disrespect and abuse for many years in their life, and they hope that a toxic person somehow will change. And when they look back in their relationship, they see that this person, like their partner or their spouse, had never had even an intention of changing or respecting her boundaries. Number two, write down what's happening. Record the boundary violations and how you respond to that. This might help you check for like weak spots in your boundaries. It's hard to repeatedly set the same boundary of someone who is not listening and who doesn't care. And often we start to give up and are inconsistent with our boundaries. And if you notice that you are not consistently setting healthy boundaries, you need to learn to make some adjustments. And if you are being consistent, writing things down can help you get clarity about what are you willing to accept and how you feel about it. Learn to practice detachment, type of like loving detachment. Detaching is a shift away from trying to control people and their choices and their situations. And when you are in a state of fear, it's understandable that you somehow want to control things and people around you just to protect yourself. But trying to control others never works. And like that type of, attitude, it's more within toxic people themselves. They want to be very controlling. They want to be in power. When we detach, and we stop trying to change others and force the outcome that we want, it is helpful. It's good for our mental and emotional health. And how we can do that? How can we emotionally detach from a narcissist or like toxic or abusive person or partner? Of course, one of those boundaries would be that you just physically leave dangerous or uncomfortable situation, or you might choose to respond differently in that situation, or you might be letting them to make their own decisions and deal with the consequences of those choices, or you might choose to not participate in the same old arguments, or taking space away from an unproductive conversation. Detaching doesn't mean you don't care about that person. It means you just taking care of yourself and being realistic about what you can do in each situation. Number four, go limited contact or no contact with the person who's abusive towards you, who's toxic, and who constantly wants to diminish you, to control you, and doesn't respect your boundaries. You need to limit that contact with such personality. And sometimes the only way to protect yourself is to stop associating with toxic people who don't respect you. So limited or no contact isn't intended somehow to punish or somehow to manipulate others. It is, again, just that type of a form of self-care, because you care about yourself. You start loving yourself. You start setting those boundaries, right? And then if that person constantly disrespects you and constantly crosses and violates your boundaries, you need to somehow protect yourself. So maybe going limited contact or no contact for a period of time might protect you, right? Might protect your mental and emotional health. So if someone is hurting you physically or emotionally, you owe it to yourself to put some type of a distance between you and that person. And number 5, refuse to spend time with them. So it's kind of like connected to going limited contact or no contact, but it's a little bit different that you could be at that time planning, yet living together, right? Being together, you might be planning to go out to friends' party together, maybe someone's birthday, maybe it was supposed to be an evening together at a cafe or restaurant. But if your partner put that pressure on you, criticizes you, calls you names, and disrespects your boundaries, implement the consequences of his misconduct. Refuse to go with him to the party. Refuse to spend time together. Again, this must be expressed calmly, with respect, without shouting and throwing all kinds of accusations or harsh words. For example, because you have criticized me, blamed me, and called me names, you have shown me disrespect and humiliated me. I felt hurt by your words and actions. Therefore, I refuse to go to our scheduled party. You can go to it alone if you have the desire, but I will stay home. And I hope our preparations for the outing will be smoother next time. We need to be able to not only draw those healthy boundaries, but every time they are crossed, impose those consequences of misconduct, with the hope that eventually the partner will respect them and stop exceeding them. But we need to be prepared for another scenario. Be aware that there is a very high chance that your partner will not respect those boundaries no matter what, will constantly try to cross them no matter what you do. And as a result, you will have to step away from the relationship for a while or even permanently. It is a very painful reality, but it is very common, especially among toxic people. The truth is that we really want people to respect our boundaries, and we want our partner in this regard to hear us, to appreciate us for who we are, to respect us and our choices and our requests and our time. It is frustrating to realize that there may come a time in your life when it will be necessary to decide whether you want to continue to have a relationship with the person who constantly diminishes you, belittles you, and doesn't respect you, or you want to separate from them. There is no way you can change another person's behavior. No way. Trying to control others, as I mentioned earlier, never works. And the only thing that you can control is just your own reaction to your partner's behavior and anticipating what to do next, possible detaching from them. Separation does not mean that you do not care about this person. It means that you have started to take care of yourself, that you have regained that courage, the desire for healthy relationships. You learn to set those healthy boundaries and look realistically at your relationships and the different situations in them. And boundaries are a way to protect yourself from further harm to your emotional and psychological health, and to demonstrate your inner strength and your true value as a beloved daughter of God. And inner peace and courage is an invaluable gift that you deserve. We all have choices. We can remain stuck in an unhealthy relationship and do nothing about it, or we can say enough is enough. I want to change, and start that change on your own. So does your partner? He has a choice too. He may learn to respect you for who you are, to love you with a healthy love, not to cross your boundaries, and respect you as a stronger woman. Or he may choose to continue blaming you, manipulating you, controlling and humiliating you, and get even angrier about the fact that you dare to set those boundaries, that you are improving, that you are becoming more courageous, and may blame you for coldness and indifference, feminism and witchcraft and whatever you want to name here. So healthy boundaries and the consequences can strengthen your relationship and bring more respect to one another, but it can also show that the other person is not ready for a change and does not want to change their toxic behaviors, which can lead to your relationship disappearing altogether, just vanishing. But I want to encourage you, stand up for what is healthy and right. You are worthy of that healthy love, respect, and tenderness. You are an invaluable woman, a wonderful daughter of God. Well, thank you for staying with me till the end. And if you have not subscribed yet to my channel, please do. And also check my previous videos. Thank you once again. Good luck and see you next time. Bye for now.